What is up? I think I'm live. I hope I'm live. Let me know, guys. Sorry. Let me know if you can hear me. I haven't done this in a while. I'm excited to catch up. No, I had to turn that off. But what's up, everyone? Happy New Comic Book Day. Happy week after New York Comic Con. I am excited to catch up with everyone. Hoping you guys are all safe. Excuse the mess. I'm still cleaning up after New York Comic Con and got a bunch of stuff of my son. And I wish that you can't see. Actually, like it's good that you can't see the floor because I just have a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna pull up from New York Comic Con. So that's exciting. Mothman, what is good? Thank you for being my mic check. Appreciate you being here promptly. But yeah, let me know what you guys want to talk about. In terms of New Comic Book Day, I didn't go to Midtown. I went to Forbidden, and they didn't really have like the selection that like Midtown has. So a lot of the stuff I read, which was really only two books, Ultimate 17 and the new history of the DC universe for I got on Comixology and read, and both of them were pretty good. Ultimate 17, I every time Dennis Camp does Ultimate Doom is just like, why can't we have more of Ultimate Doom? Which is sad because the Ultimate Universe is coming to an end, and I will be making a video about that and how frustrating that is. Dennis Camp is someone I actually met at New York Comic Con. So I have my little folio that I spent way too much money on at New York Comic Con. So let me see if I have my signed books in here. And I do. So as we're on the topic of Dennis Camp, I got my Martian Manhunter number ones, Absolute Martian Manhunter number ones, signed by Javier Rodriguez. I had already got them signed by Dennis Camp a couple months ago when this book launched. And Javier, it was awesome to get to meet them. They did a signing at Javier's booth at New York Comic Con. And when they were doing it, it was completely free. I was like, oh, like, how much, they're charging or whatever. They're like, everything's free. So for about an hour, if you were at New York Comic Con, I think it was either Saturday or Sunday, you got all your Ultimates and Absolute Martian Manhunters signed gratis, which was really cool. And also, like, Camp is a really humble dude, and it was cool to see how people reacted to the Ultimates. And it's great that it sucks that like Marvel kind of like puts them out there, and it's like they have to be the ones to apologize and be out there and be like, hey, I'm sorry about it ending and all those kind of things. But they really handled it well. It was cool to kind of see some of those interactions. Mine was relatively quick. I was like, hey, love the work, awesome. I moved on. But I just love Camp's work, Absolute Martian Manhunter, Assorted Crisis Events, the Ultimates, all great stuff. Yep, double signed Absolute Martian Manhunter. It's awesome to kind of have, like, to be honest, because I kind of feel that it's one of those books that is really special. I did one giveaway one, which was cool. I forgot who won that, but yeah, I gave away one in the channel. I feel like that like book definitely helped the channel grow. Like when I did my review, it's one of the most viewed videos on the channel. So this book is special to me in so many ways, and I can't wait for it to come back for its second arc. And then, speaking of Dennis Camp, Ultimate 17, as I was saying, was amazing. I love that book. Sadly, it's going to end, I think, with issue 24 when I think March of next year as Ultimate Endgame comes to a close. Let's see if Marvel, stays true to their word, or they just use this as an opportunity to relaunch and give us a bunch of new number ones, which I wouldn't put it past them. And again, I'm going to talk about that in a video. But exciting stuff around that book. It builds a momentum, and I feel like every issue is so contained, and it could be like anyone's favorite issue. Like issue 4, there's so many like different ones that have like these key moments. I even really liked the Ultimate Hawkeye one shot. That was fantastic, which was written by Camp and I think co-written by someone else. And there are few words I can use to describe how much I love the work they're doing at both DC and Marvel, and their indie work with Assorted Crisis Events. So really cool. And while we're kind of talking about what I've got at double signed stuff at New York Comic Con, look at this Batman #1 from Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez. This is a New York Comic Con exclusive foil that was sold at the DC booth. Uh, is it exclusive? Because I know like Midtown Comics was making it exclusive. It doesn't say New York Comic Con on the back, so it might still be on sale some places. That's the way comic covers work. They'll tell you it's an exclusive, and then you wake up the next day and it's like, oh, it's sold everywhere. But what's really cool about this one, it's actually double signed as well by Nick Dragata, the cover artist, and Jorge Jimenez, the actual interior artist. This is dope. I was sort of like passing by Dragata's booth, who had a line all weekend, but his line was really like kind of dead. And I think it was because they were capping it because he was going, either to break or a panel or something like that. And he saw me and he's like, "You want that signed?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And he just signed it and took a picture with me. So shout out to them because, like it was kind of the end of they're kind of capped off the line and stuff. I just was kind of like passing by and he saw me and he signed it and I got a picture, which was really cool. And I really love Batman #1 and I love Absolute Batman. So to see Dragata actually homaging their own work when so many different artists have been homaging Absolute Batman, like we saw with, I think Troma did like a cover like that for Toxic Avenger. There's a Rob Liefeld Youngblood Absolute Batman. So this is really cool. Gonna keep this in the collection. Like I wish I was a person that got things graded because I would get this graded. I don't think it'd be a great grade because I could see like the spine ticks and stuff. But really cool because I also got to meet Jorge Jimenez for the first time. He's more beautiful than this cover. Very handsome man, very dreamy, also really nice. Signed this, was really cool. Also got a photo with him. I feel like I need to talk about those things as well. I'll probably make a video on my Artist Alley experience, which I think New York Comic Con has the best Artist Alley in the world. Like, what other con are you gonna get a Batman #1 double signed by Jorge Jimenez and Nick Dragata? I paid for the Jimenez signature, but I don't even think it was that much considering. And then Dragata was completely free, which was awesome. Yeah, so DC again being awesome. And again, another Artist Alley win. I got this Action Comics #1 homage from Dan Mora. It's a print. I am kind of against getting prints, but I was passing Dan Mora's booth. He was about to get on to start signing. The line wasn't existent. I'd be first if I waited. So I was like, you know what? Let me wait. Because I wanted to get a photo. I wanted to see them, up. I think I've heard complaints about how handsome Jorge is. I listen. I'm not complaining. I listen. That guy is very handsome. Also Dan Mora, very handsome and very tall. I met him last year and I was surprised at how tall he was. I got a few things signed from him. Also, I think a print, but like, I feel like every time I see him at a con, he's never really on the like Artist Alley list, so I'm not sure he's coming. So I'm like, oh, let me not. And I have tons of Dan Mora things to get signed, so I'm like, I don't know. And then so I just got this print, which is cool. I think it's one of his best variant covers of the year. I think he was also selling one of the James Gunn and David Corenswet. But I didn't want to get that one because I already got it signed by Dan Slott, and I feel like to have like two versions of that signed by two different people was just like I wasn't with it. So I got this, and then I also got a photo with Dan. Honestly, the photo was more valuable to me. That's really cool. What else did I get in Artist Alley? I'm gonna open up this again, very expensive folio, which I feel like I should have bought one before, like, and put stickers on it, and I just bought this, and honestly, I regret it kind of. What is in here? Got a Vertigo, DC Vertigo, little pamphlet about like the new books that are coming out. I meant to get this sign, which was Robin and Batman, Jason Todd by Dustin Yen. I did get a original piece from them. It was really cool to get that. I don't know where I put it. Actually, I need to find that to show off. But that was really cool. One of my favorite artists. And then I got Super Guy. Super Guy is a book from Tony Inacio. I met Tony online through I think like Threads and Instagram and stuff like that. Great collector, great person in the community, and they created this book. They I think issue 2 right now is on Kickstarter. I have to read it. They sent me the PDF and all of that, but I really want to do like a review because I feel like it really deserves that, and it's cool to kind of see people really in the community create something that it's their own. When I met them physically in Artist Alley, it was kind of funny because it felt like, oh, like dude, you should have your own booth, because as I was running into them, someone else ran into them, and then someone else ran into them. So it was like kind of like an impromptu like signing and stuff. It's like I should have gotten it signed. I told him I was gonna make a video with him and stuff, but honestly, New York Comic Con was overwhelming. I had a press pass, so there was a lot of work, and honestly, there's so many things I had planned that I just didn't do. So this is really cool about an average guy that becomes a superhero. Actually, I didn't even notice this on the back. It does have some like cool like pull quotes. One from Joey Esposito, who wrote The Pedestrian, which was like kind of like an indie hit of last year. You can look at the art inside. Again, this has a Kickstarter. I am probably gonna do a short form review or overview of this book pretty soon. I'm gonna try to do that because Tony has been really gracious. Did not have to. I was willing to pay for this, and he's like, "No, man, here you go. I'm just giving these out." And gave me a bunch of like super guy stuff, and it's cool to kind of. It's really like aspirational and inspirational. It makes me want to kind of put myself out there. Like I'm always like I'm on the internet talking about other people's work. It's like I might, I should make something, and see how it feels to have people talk about what I'm doing. And again, I think it's really cool to see this and see what they've been able to do, and also sort of like their impact on the community. Like so many people were coming up to them and had kind words about the book and who they are. So, and I ran into them in the pro lounge. So I ran into them a couple times, and in the pro lounge we were talking about like comics, shows, and stuff like that. So we were a really cool dude, and I really wish they have a lot of success with this book because they deserve it, just from my basic interactions with them. At the DC booth, they were giving out Daily Planet newspapers, which was really cool. I know some people didn't get it. There's like a QR code. I haven't opened it like to see what's on the inside. Oh, that's cool. Promoting some of the books, which is smart. QR codes. There's a little like Supergirl comic strip. That's awesome. What else I have down here? I bought these trading cards from Caillou. I'm not a Naruto guy, but they had invited me to their booth to do some interviews. I didn't get to do those, so I went and just bought these. I'm probably going to do a video or like a pack rip and stuff like that just to get on the wave. Speaking of trading cards, Spider-Man Magic the Gathering. They were just giving these out, like candy at the Magic booth. They also had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like pizza station outside of the convention center, that they were giving out like pizza boxes with the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cards, which is insane. I've never been a Magic the Gathering person, but it's kind of crazy like how they have these like collabs that are like decks that actually you could play with and stuff like that. So it's been interesting to see over the last year, and it's gotten someone like me who has no interest in Magic the Gathering. I grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh as something I actually played. Pokemon, I played the game, watched the anime, collected the cards for a little bit, but the game was way too complicated for me to play. So again, something cool to see. I have no plans of opening it, but hey, there was no line. They're like, hey, you want one of these? I'm like, yeah, sure. So why not? Something I also bought was there was an Invincible trading card booth that this is not a game. I think it's just more like collectible cards. So like you could get like signatures and stuff like that. So I got like a 3-pack of those, and then I got a box. There could be signatures in these, but I don't think they're actually signatures by the actors that voice the characters on the show. which is weird because it's like signatures of the characters, like fictional. So who is signing these and where the value? Seeing it, if I don't think I put this in my walkthrough video, but the cars actually look cool. So if you're into like sports cards, these kind of look very much like those tops, sports cars that have like holographics or uniforms on the inside and stuff like that. Like that's why I kind of got it. I was like, oh, this seems cool. And Invincible definitely had a big presence overall at New York Comic Con. They had a booth for obviously this. They had a panel. They had the game. Like I got to play the Invincible versus game early, which was really cool. And play the new character Cecil. I thought that was dope. Yeah, like I honestly, it's crazy because I really don't know anyone that plays Magic the Gathering. Like I it's just not. And I live a couple blocks away from this gaming store that actually does, like, they do D&D and Magic the Gathering, so you can actually, like, pay and you could play in the tables in the back and stuff like that. But I don't know, I just, every time, the art on the cards look really cool. But I think for me growing up, like having those animated series like Yu-Gi-Oh, and Yu-Gi-Oh, funny enough, those first, like that first year of playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I never even played it based on the rule book. I played it based on what I used to see in the show. And it wasn't until like 6 months in and stuff like that where me and a bunch of the kids I went to middle school with were like, wait, there's actually a rule book. And you actually have to like sacrifice and do all these things. And that was eventually sort of introduced in the anime. But for me, like I was just playing that game straight vibes, which I actually liked more than Pokemon. Because Pokemon, you had energies and all this, shit that I honestly did not understand when I was like in middle school or elementary school, whenever Pokemon was really jumping at that time. But I do kind of want to get more into like cards, mainly like sports cards, because I am outside of comics and all that. I do like sports, and some of it's kind of cool. It's a kind of way of showing that. I think with this stuff, I rather collect like comics and get it signed. And speaking of Invincible, what was really cool is that I got to meet Robert Kirkman. I participated in a press roundtable for the Energon stuff. And in hindsight, I should have asked, hey, do you guys plan on making an Energon animated series? Because that was just announced. So maybe I could have gotten the scoop a little bit early. But I am still learning as a journalist. I still am getting my feet back under me in that. I did go to school for journalism, but took a long break, and now with Bada Boom and this channel, you guys have definitely given me that sort of confidence to get back in it and pursue it. So appreciate you all. What else? What else do I have around here? I think that's pretty much it, honestly. I do have other stuff, but I have to kind of like dig for it. But yeah, I think New York Comic Con was really successful. I got to put out a bunch of videos, meet a lot of people. It also showed me what's possible, meeting other creators, content creators. I met Decaf, who's a really big TikTok creator in comics, also like YouTube and Instagram. They do a lot of great stuff. I met Cleo Thomas, who plays Zero in Holes. They're really great, like cosplayer and content creator, and they're huge, but super humble, super nice. I got to get a picture with them. At that same Invincible Versus event, I met them, and then also Rayon, who's a TikTok creator, does a lot of like political like not commentary, more like skits and stuff like that, and he's really funny, and he recently like really blew up, so it was cool to meet him, got a photo with him, so it was cool. I think there was a lot of like controversy around like content creators because they had changed the sort of like setup of where Cosplay Central was, which was kind of like a big landmark for a lot of cosplayers, where Pair would be, where people kind of like a central hub where meetups would happen, there's bathrooms. As people were complaining about that, I was like, oh my god, like this is the best thing ever, because I had a press pass, so I was up there and it was a lot more quiet. I could do interviews. I got to interview David Dalsmelchin, Polka Dot Man. So like while I'm like, oh my god, it's so spacious up there, this is the best thing they ever did. They closed this off to the public and all these things. Secretly, this other group is really upset because that space had been taken away. So and cosplay is so important to New York Comic Con, even as someone that understands the value of press and media. And we definitely needed that space to kind of have those quiet moments to work, and a kind of designated area to have to create content, take breaks, bathroom, all that kind of stuff. But like some of the biggest like shorts and all that kind of stuff that I've ever posted on the internet, whether it be on my podcast or this, have been cosplayers at cons. So even I acknowledge like, hey, like we have to figure out a way to kind of like, find that balance. Wish I could go to cons, but can't right now. Your videos have been very appreciated, but also a little FOMO. Honestly, to be fair, Mothman, I've only really been to New York cons. Like, I'm very lucky that I live near New York Comic Con and all that kind of stuff. But when I watch videos of San Diego Comic Con, one con that I've really been interested in is Tokyo Comic Con. When I see stuff like that, that's the kind of stuff that like really gets me FOMO. So I kind of like also like those videos were very much inspired by those videos that I watch. So even as someone that has attended big conventions like New York Comic Con or Planet Con, I still get FOMO. I'm not above that. So I definitely understand it, which is part of the reason I made those videos. It was very inspired by some of my favorite con videos, and I definitely want to do better next year, because I was not aware until like the second day about that press lounge, how spacious it was going to be. Like last time I did press was had to be like 8 years ago, when I was still like in college and stuff like that. So to kind of see where that room, and also I went there last year, like I was in that area and it was Cosplay Central, so I was like, oh, it's gonna be really loud, I can't really work. So most of the editing and all that stuff was done when I got home, and I was like, crunching to kind of put it out. I was really tired, and had I known that space was there, I would have planned out my day more meticulously. I would have taken more breaks. I would have brought my laptop so I can edit and make thumbnails on the spot and post things while I'm there. The internet was even better. Again, there were really nice restrooms. I got to kind of like meet and mingle. I would have done more networking had I known this space was there. So I hope they keep the space in some capacity. I think there will be change, because there is such a loud uproar from the cosplay community. People that didn't even attend are commenting on this kind of stuff, which is kind of like fascinating. Like I met a lot of like cosplayers like through Instagram and stuff like that, which is really cool. Like really talented people, and you could see sort of like how taking that space away affected that community. So I'm sure they're gonna probably figure out a balance, because I think I accidentally walked into like Cosplay Central and it was like in the basement, and I was a little confused. But where it was before, there was a lot more lighting, it was better for photographers, that kind of thing. So I definitely see them going back to the way it was, or kind of finding a way to maybe put press in another area. There's the Javits is huge. They could find some place that can be that happy medium for both communities, like the press and content creators, professionals, and then also the cosplayers. But cosplayers is interesting because some of them are content creators, in the sense that New York Comic Con created a content creator badge. So yeah, it was interesting. One of the more interesting controversies. I think New York Comic Con always has like a weird thing that happens, and it's only in New York. Like a couple of years, I think it was last year, someone shit on the floor in like Artist Alley or something like that, which is insane. Then a couple years ago, like exhibitors and VIP people got in a fight on the line at like Peach Momoko's booth. So every year there's something that, like, as good as the con could be to you, there is someone's con that was literal hell. So New York Comic Con is funny in that way. Yes, good lounge spaces. Again, like as a creator and press, I was doing interviews and all that kind of stuff. Like it is so important to have a quiet space. And even when as I was setting up my con, some people were like, "Oh, where do you want to do the interview and stuff like that?" And I was like, I wouldn't do it at the press lounge. Like it's so loud because of the cosplay central. People are eating, like so distracting. And when I went there this year, I was like, man, had I known this was there, I would have done. I would have said something. I would have done more. So that was disappointing. But it is always good to kind of have a place to sit, and also they had food that you can buy and stuff. So I was really grateful to have that because also I would have left the con earlier. I was so like you walk so much and I had my bag, so it was good to go to a space where I could like sit and literally like take a load off, think about what I was gonna do. But next year, if I get press again, I'm definitely gonna go in focus and also ask the question: Hey, will the press pro lounge be similar to what it was last year? Because if that's the case, I'm going crazy. But good stuff. I overall that was really cool. I didn't attend as many panels as I wanted to. There were really a lot of great opportunities in terms of interviews and stuff like that as I was moving to things. Also, like I committed to some things that I couldn't even go to. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the Energon panel, and then I thought it was like at 2 o'clock, and then yeah, I just completely blanked, and it actually was right after the press room. So there's stuff like that I completely blanked on, and part of it is the overstimulation, but also I need to be better and more organized about planning those things. So it was really cool in that way, but also I kind of really disappointed myself and not being able to kind of like manage sort of like, hey, the craziness of New York Comic Con, the overstimulation, the content creator brain, the sort of attendee brain, and then also the press brain, like all these things kind of fighting for attention. But I'm excited to pursue it next year, hopefully. And I think now that I'm sort of like a little bit more confident, I'm definitely going to apply for San Diego Comic Con and see what happens. If I get to San Diego, guys, we are going to go crazy. Energon, I think what really got me on board with Energon Mothman was the GI Joe stuff. I never was a GI Joe guy. Like Transformers, like at least like Beast Wars. I like the Transformers movies. So there, and I love Daniel Warren Johnson. Joshua Williamson, I like their Flash stuff, but there's never been anything that like was like, oh my god, this is like the best. And then I had read, I'm a huge Dan Waters fan. I read Destro, and I was like, this is so good. And it made me go back and read Cobra and then Duke and then Scarlet from Kelly Thompson. So I think you really have to get like one of those books. But if you have Global Comics and you're paying for like their gold tier, which I think is like $10 a month, they do have I think the first two volumes that you could just read. Especially that first arc for Daniel Warren Johnson's like Transformers, like it's pretty good. And Robert Kirkman just took over the book with Dan Mora. So Dan Mora is doing, 80 books a week for, 79 of them are for DC, and then one is for Robert Kirkman and Skybound with the Energon stuff. I heard I was in that panel. I didn't get to, not the panel, the press room. I haven't gotten to read Transformers 25, which is sort of like the new jumping on point and stuff. But that's because I'm way behind on it too. Yes, if you love Dan Waters, honestly, Destro, like I again had no basis in the GI Joe universe outside of the Channing Tatum and the Rock movie. Like that's all I know about GI Joe. I didn't grow up with the toys. I didn't grow up with the animated series or any of the comics, any of that stuff. I thought like, oh, Snake Eyes looks cool. But Dan Waters, like I was like, oh, I saw their name on Destro, and I was like, oh, this I guess this will be cool. And it was such a good book. It's only 4 issues, and it might be on Global Comics too. So, yeah, Dan is so good at like doing things like Nightwing that's like action packed, but also something like really introspective and all that. So they're one of my favorite writers right now. I think them, Ram V, Dennis Camp. Scott Snyder's at the top of that list with Absolute Batman lately. So there's so many talented people, especially newer people like Dan, that over the last like 3 to 5 years have really like delivered great comics. Rom V, they've worked together. I love their Creature from the Black Lagoon book, which was also at Skybound. So read Destro if you want to get into the Energon universe. I know most people would be like, "Oh, Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers and stuff like that." It's like, yeah, that's easy. Like if you really want to buy into the other side of the universe, which is the GI Joe, which I find harder to buy into because GI Joe doesn't have the same pull as Transformers. Read Destro. Such a good book. Such a good book. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for my recap. I really appreciate you, Mothman. You showed up and you made sure I wasn't by myself in this chat, so I really appreciate that. And I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to do stuff like this because of you guys. This is, the first time I've been able to do press as an independent and my own thing. Again, there are things that I think I did really well, things I wish I had done better. But I appreciate you guys rocking with me, especially like I haven't been doing like the comic book reviews or the live streams as much. So now that New York Comic Con is over, now that some things are a little bit settled, I want to get back into a groove of those things. Like I've been putting out a lot of videos over the past couple weeks because of all the stuff that's been coming out. But I think what really got a lot of people into the channel was the reviews, the commentary, and we had started to get into a rhythm with the lives, but then I definitely fell off. So again, appreciate you guys for all rocking with me. Mothman, like I said, thank you for coming in and not making me feel like by myself, because I would have ended the stream in like 15 minutes. Burke, appreciate you for pulling up. And thank you guys. See you soon. There'll be a video tomorrow. I'm going to do an Ultimate Marvel Universe video, so Mothman, look out for that as I bitch and moan about Marvel Comics practices, and celebrate the Ultimate Marvel Universe as I know and love it right now. But again, thank you guys. It was something that really filled my cup in terms of seeing other creators and seeing what's possible with this. So thank you all, and peace. Have a good one, guys.